Hey everybody. Clay here again, and with the Green Tongue podcast, and I'm going to bring in someone that I've wanted to interview for a long time, and that's Michael Halroyd. He's the president of, no, not president, you're the director of AWA, and AWA is Alberta Whitewater Association, and there's lots of stuff, obviously, that we could talk about, but I think I've boiled it down to some of the more kind of nitty-gritty things. So anyways, I'm just gonna lean on Michael right away just to ask him, if he could share a little bit about himself, how he got into the position, and then also we'll go from there.
Yeah, thanks, Clay. I guess about me, I was born in Banff, so I'm an Alberta kid, and then unfortunately had to move to Edmonton when I was like 6 and grew up there, but was lucky enough to connect with all the paddling clubs there. So UAPS and EWP were my first clubs, and got into racing and played a bunch of polo and that kind of thing. But ultimately, did slalom for 10 years as an athlete and 14 years as a coach. And then, now I'm in this role as executive director.
Nice. Was it a hard choice? Did you apply for it, or were you kind of asked to do it?
No, we had to apply, and sounded like there was a pretty good fleet of people that applied for it for sure.
Oh, so you actually have some, were able to back yourself up and show some clout there?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, nice. Okay. So can you just explain a little bit, just a brief explanation of what the Alberta Whitewater Association is, what they do?
Yeah, so we have 22 clubs around the province, and the Alberta Whitewater Association, I guess, is the provincial sport organization. So we're funded by the province of Alberta, and we sit underneath Canoe Kayak Canada, which is the federal canoe kayak organization. And so we advocate for the sport in Alberta. We work on looking after facilities like Kananaskis and Harvey Passage and access to all sorts of different things. I guess, just looking at the strategic goal areas here, connecting clubs, different disciplines, trying to build a really inclusive paddling environment. And then we also have the Coaches of Canada, Coaching Association of Canada leadership program for kayak. And so that has leadership, it has instructors, and it has coaching pathways. And then just generally promoting development of athletes and paddlers across the lifespan. So that's the long-term paddling development program, sort of looking at how people progress right from, in the pool to flat water to moving water, etc.
Sweet. Big job. There's a lot of different directions that you guys have to go. Obviously, you have to facilitate a progression in terms of like how you develop recreationalists and competitors. And also, you spoke a little bit about multidisciplinary approach, but I think for the most part, the AWA seems to lean onto kayaking a little bit. I think probably because it's more popular than anything else. However, SUP is definitely, kind of getting way more traction than anything else. It seems like, year after year.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different boats and crafts, and within some of the disciplines, there's sea boats, like the C1s for canoe slalom and freestyle. So that's, I guess, where that canoe component comes in as well.
Right. Yeah. Do you facilitate, like, or do you foresee any major changes happening for the AWA in 2026? Do you guys have any big goals or projects that you're really excited about?
Yeah, there's a few big things. We have like we have some bigger events this year that we're hosting. So we have the Pan Am Championships at the Kananaskis in August. We're hosting nationals the week after that, and then we have a Harvey Days that we're working on that we're in kind of early preparation for, which will be in May. Uh, if all the stars align, us and Alberta River Surfing will be building an adjustable wave um, late 26 or 27, if that all works at the Kananaskis.
Six,
Um,
seven.
yeah, 6,
Sorry.
7. Uh,
I hang out with 12-year-olds all the
yeah,
time. So
me neither. And then yeah, we're actually going to go through a new strategic planning process again in next fall. So the current one is 2021 to 2026. So due for a little revamp and look at what new projects we can take on and new directions and stuff. So yeah.
cool. Nice. Um, it really sounds like there's a lot of weight put towards southern Alberta and especially like Harvey's and Kananaskis. Obviously, because we have a fair amount of investment there. Um, is is there a concerted effort, or is there an effort to get into other watersheds, other parts of the province?
Yeah, I mean, it's harder in terms of facilities to build new things in other places. We've looked at, we've had probably a half dozen proposals for Edmonton to try and build a whitewater park over the years, and none of them seem to stick. But one of the ideas we have is to create kind of whitewater regions as exist in some other jurisdictions around the world. And so we have proposed, and it hasn't, gone through, or the government hasn't adopted it yet. But we've proposed, for instance, a Red Deer, Upper Red Deer River whitewater area that would kind of formalize the Red Deer from a recreation perspective. So we'd have like, formalized access points, we'd have roadside signs, there'd be a website, and it would really bring that region, together as a whole that would include, the rafting companies and other outfitters that are in the area. Um, so that's one of the proposals that we've put forward to the government. Um, but things in the planning and government world happen slowly. So it might percolate there for 5 or 10 years and then come to be. But we'll see. We keep mentioning it to them and try and progress those kind of ideas.
Yeah, like the Upper Red Deer is a gem, and it it's kind of a little bit of a secret still. So it would be, I mean, the length of river that actually holds, you know, significant or valuable, what we would call valuable water for whitewater pursuits is quite quite I don't know, significant for using the same word over and over again. But
Yeah.
I love that place, so that would be great. Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. Um, Now, in terms of like the province and the government, like they seem to, they obviously are funding the AWA overall. Uh, are they really aggressive about, the idea of expansion? Are they aggressive about the idea of like building tourism or supporting the paddling industry? Or are they just kind of, they got their sights set on like bus loads of international visitors
Yeah,
coming to Banff?
it's definitely hard to say. I mean,
Yeah.
they're aiming to boost the tourism revenue to 25 billion by 2035, I believe is the number. So they're obviously doing that through the Four Seasons Resort Act, um, and then they've been doing a bunch of destination development stuff over the last few years. And so one of those was like a Cochrane, Sundre, Rocky Mountain House region. And again, that was where the kind of the Red Deer thing initially got proposed, and that was probably 3 years ago. And so we're just trying to keep, again, reminding them that this is a possibility if they want to. Um, we've done a couple grants. We we last year we applied for a trails grant for that project, but because the project wasn't in the province's system yet, we didn't get it. Similarly, we've applied with Alberta Conservation Association to try and get a bit of that project off the ground and build some kiosks and just to kind of start that process. But yeah, I mean, it requires, uh, I guess, a bit of a movement of people that are interested in supporting these things.
Hmm.
Um, it can't just be me sitting in an office in Calgary coming up with good ideas. We really have to get other people on the ground to jump in on them. So
Oh, so you're advocating for more involvement from the community overall, and I suppose
for
that would
sure,
be
the
business.
more voices, the more voices that are heard, the more likely we are to get anything to happen.
Right.
Um,
So we have to continue to promote the sport.
yeah,
Where
talk to your municipalities, talk to your regions, talk to your tourism people. Really try and make it clear that there's a big opportunity here. The recreation surveys that Alberta Recreation and Parks does showed 35% of Albertans uh, do some sort of paddle sport in a year, so canoe, kayak, or sup, and so that's a huge number.
35, yeah,
Obviously, 35%. So that's yeah, it's over 1 million people, um,
mhm.
and so how do we start to realize those benefits for people?
Yeah, for sure. Make it more accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Geez, on that note, so accessibility, I'm not the only one, I'm sure, who's been very frustrated with the attack, I would call it maybe, on recreational paddle sports, especially in the river sense. It seems like we're just continually being, um, uh, you know, I guess, like uh, yeah, I'm stumbling on words again. We basically don't have access like we used to, and there's just more and more barriers being put up um, over. Every year it seems like something else comes down the pipe where we are just like, oh, so now we can't use this spot, or now we can't use that spot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm not going to name any names or anything, but we also have water flow issues as well. But how how is the province helping us with that? Do they recognize our challenges, or are they kind of like, they don't really kind of connect the dots?
Yeah, I mean, so for instance, the South Saskatchewan Regional Plan, which is sort of the template for the whole province, um, recognizes access for river recreation. When it comes to that actually happening, there's some places that it's happened pretty well and it's been formalized, and then there's a lot of other places where the jurisdiction crossover is really difficult. So you have either private land or you have municipal land, county land, and not everybody's priorities line up. And then there's the safety piece, right? And so everybody's worried about the safety of people on the river. Everybody's worried about their own liability, and then on top of that, as soon as you say water, uh, a lot of the government folks say, "Oh, that's not us. That's the federal government."
Oh, it's a federal. Yeah, that's
It's
right.
not. The access isn't, but
Yeah.
the waterways, in theory, is Transport Canada, and so you just we're in this constant jurisdictional quagmire, and unless you have an entity like whether it's a municipality like Calgary that created the river access strategy, until you have a champion within whatever that jurisdiction is to move something forward, it's really easy for all the people working in government to just go like this, right? So on the Kananaskis, trying to get some support from the government. Um, Last year we had environment and tourism and sport help us out with the agreement, and so we had water in the can that was consistent all summer, all summer. It was really awesome. And but this year, uh, everybody's backed away from it. So environment has said tourism and sport needs to lead that. tourism and sport said, we don't know anything about water. You know, environment or maybe utilities and affordabilities should do that, um, or irrigation because they manage the dams. So we just get literally like this happening constantly. So it's really hard to work with. So yeah, you know, on some of these things, it's coming down to I guess ourselves and the power providers to work directly with each other, and we have a pretty good working relationship right now. So I'll just say let's see how the outcome comes out in the spring of this year, and we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how things move forward. Definitely want to. We'd love to have more access, and I'd love to see how we can progress that. And I mean, you don't have to comment on this, but would you foresee us ever having to, as a recreational group or a sport and tourism group, like they still
Sorry,
got
you
yeah
cut out. You just
yeah
cut out there.
uh,
As a
yeah. So
sport and
I was
tourism
just
group?
yeah, I was just wondering if we should we be moving into a federal, outreach and trying to work directly with our.
We have, and they just do the same thing, right? They say that
Right.
access is is a provincial and or
Mm,
whoever's jurisdiction it is. Um,
mm,
yeah, there. You know, we've looked through everything, and we've had lots of other people suggest ideas on how access could be or should be like a given right or whatever. None of that exists. There's no documentation that we have a right to access water.
oh, so the Navigable Waters Act is
You can
not.
navigate it. You can navigate it if you can get to it.
Yeah. Okay. So everyone's allowed onto water that leads somewhere, or is allowed to be on it, but we just.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And people can't block it without certain restrictions and or yeah considerations, right? You can't
yeah.
build docks and dams and whatnot without regulations. But a lot of what is in place, a lot of the infrastructure that's in place now, predates any yeah all of the acts that exist.
Hmm. Well, fingers crossed. We'll just keep, plugging forward, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think
Or
you know everything we can do to just elevate the sport. You know, make it more approachable, more accessible, good quality. You know, I think those kind of things make a big difference. And yeah, just try and get it on more and more people's radar as you know a recreational benefit, the economic benefit, and whatnot. Like, you know, we've done a couple of impact assessments around here, and so the Bow River we figure is about 120 million between paddle sports and angling per year, and the Kananaskis itself is about 32 million economic impact. So you know, when you start to add all those up across the province, you can start to get to decent numbers, and we would
and
hope
that's
consider it.
yes. So that's basically uh, tourism use and recreational use. It
Yeah,
doesn't,
everything.
yeah, doesn't include all the other watersheds throughout the province either.
Right. Yeah.
Just the Bow River, really. I mean, the Kananaskis, I guess, its own watershed, but it leads into the Bow, so
Yeah.
it is in the same area. Frustrating. Looking forward to just more cooperation through um, with all the businesses and all the recreational groups and stuff. And I think I can speak for everyone in the so-called room that we're pretty thankful for all the hard work that you're putting forward there, Mike, and also like you're able to kind of facilitate the type of languaging and interaction that that remains positive and tries to keep everyone on the same playing field, doesn't shut anyone down or shut anyone out. So thanks so much. Everyone really,
Yeah, no worries.
yeah, that's great. Um, that's kind of the technical stuff in terms of like AUA and what it's doing, and also some of the things I wanted to kind of put on the table about access. But one of the things that got me wanting to talk with people on this forum is basically some of the stuff that I wasn't really able to find on podcasts and stuff, and kind of it has to do with like uh, technical aspects of paddling, guiding, and that kind of thing. So you've done a fair amount of coaching in the past, and I just did the L3 I3 training module with you in the fall, which was a blast. So much fun.
Yeah.
Um, Very impressive. I think you're uh, obviously a very well versed coach. You got lots of experience. You made you made everything seem like it was very simple and easy. And what do you think? How do you what would you consider your coaching style is overall?
Oh.
I,
um,
I was thinking like, how would I answer that? I don't really know.
Sorry.
No worries.
How would I describe my coaching style? I guess I'm pretty experiential in terms of how I try and approach things, um, and how I get others try and get other people to approach things. So it's you know less so you need to do X, Y, and Z every time, and more so like trying to give people opportunities to try just moving the boat in this direction, in that direction, try this and try that. Um, and so I guess yeah, in some ways, I guess recently that's been called like a constraint kind of method. Um, but yeah, I guess I just I find paddling fun, and I think that there's so many different ways um, that you can learn a skill, and there's constantly new skills that are being invented or tweaked or whatever. And so I don't know. I'm not stuck on any one kind of progression, and I really appreciate like hearing from other people what they're doing and how theirs work, and then you just try that, and if it works you do it, if it doesn't you don't.
Totally.
I'm not
So
teaching that much these days, so uh yeah, it's easy to get a little rusty, but yeah, you
yeah.
just play with it and it's fun.
Um, so you're not afraid of like maybe wasting some time with a new drill or a new concept that might just kind of fall flat on its face a little bit.
100%. And I guess for me, like coming from a perspective where I've spent quite a lot of time with the same people, like coaching the same people, I appreciate like the longer progression. So I mean, I'll just say that I 100% do not believe in like a 2-day weekend course that you can get very much done. For me, the longer format of teaching or coaching is far better from a social perspective, and just that ability to, yeah, to learn over a longer period of time. I realize, financially that's harder for businesses or clubs to necessarily pull off, but yeah, if there's a way where you can stretch something out, minimum 6 to 8 weeks, then the people in the group are going to start to get to know each other. So they'll become people that they'll probably paddle with in the future. And they're going to be more comfortable with the instructor, the coach, and they'll have more time to like synthesize their experience and what they're learning and get better at it.
Yeah, naturally more time is better, and you can refine things, go back to you start at the basics and build up from that each time, or really focus on one thing. Like in our L3 I3, what do we spend like 40 minutes on, was it 40 minutes, almost an hour maybe, on sweep stroke, which is, I mean, ultimately the most important stroke for kayaking, almost.
Yeah.
Depending on who you are and what your preference is or what your opinion is, but there's there's a lot of blended strokes that happen with kayaking for sure, and yeah, we spent a lot of time just doing a progression into a single sweep stroke.
For sure.
Um, yeah, and Simon led that. Uh, Obviously, he developed that concept through years and years of coaching and instructing, and he's speaking my language for sure. Yeah, hopefully I can get Simon on one of these interviews for sure.
For sure. Yeah. He's got a
So
really cool layered approach that, yeah, it's amazing how, and, I think in that perspective, you can get, like, it takes a long time to go through those full layers, but you can get it down and dialed to a really good quality uh, in that period of time, right? By using that progression.
yeah, totally. Um, and if you can like connect with the student to try and get them to understand that each one of the steps that you're taking towards a single stroke, uh, just to getting to even perform the stroke before you perform it, if they can then connect to it, um, at times when they're willing to work on the technique or the technical side of it and just do, reps in a very easy, uh, environment, then it'll pay dividends, right? Like it does so much for when you have, when you at that moment when you're stressed and you're bagged and you end up having to rely on technique over strength, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's that buy-in, right? To convince people to step back to Flatwater, to learn something. I know, like at the leadership symposium, it was last year, we had a period of time with no water, so we went down to CB and did a bunch of stuff on the Flatwater, and or maybe it was the year before, but uh, yeah, it was incredible what all the learning facilitators were able to bring to those instructors, um, and stuff that they'd never seen before. Uh, Tricks.
awesome. And then every one of those instructors and coaches took those new things and then applied it, and basically, yeah, nice. So how would you actually um, where would you consider paddling is going at this point? Like if you're to look at like where a lot of the volume is directed. I mean, obviously we kind of touched on that with SUP, but when I was kayaking a lot, freestyle was kind of the thing because
Mm-hmm.
it was new and everyone wanted to be in a little boat doing tricks.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
um, then it seemed like it went away and everyone was into now running bigger water and in creek boats. And now it seems to be everything's kind of just now broadening out, and those respective disciplines are starting to just kind of hold their own. And yeah,
yeah. I mean, there's just, I think, I think there's so many different pieces of different ways you can go, right? So I think if when you're coming into a club, if the clubs can offer a little bit of everything, then people can kind of find the area that they enjoy and go that direction. So, and that can be everything from flat water, like, hey, I want to kayak, but I don't ever want to get on a river. That's cool. Um, or I want to paddle a half slice at Harvey or the Can or the Red Deer for the rest of my life. I'm pretty close to that myself right now. um, or whether you want to get into one of the disciplines, right? Whether it's freestyle or slalom or polo, like I think we have a really cool um, ecosystem in Alberta where we've got a little bit of everything, and we've got something that everybody can kind of to gnaw on. And then obviously there's some of the newer disciplines like SUP or packraft, which is just an inflatable kayak. Changed my mind, but it won't happen. And yeah, I mean,
the biggest controversy in paddling right now.
Is it
What is a pack raft?
the kayak? Paddle is like a playboat.
I thought it
Um,
was a backpack.
yeah, it could be a backpack too. I did a slalom course in it this summer, and it worked perfect. So I
Oh,
actually think
nice.
it's a slalom boat, and I'm sure you could play polo in it pretty well too. You wouldn't hurt anybody. So
Yeah, the ball would bounce pretty far for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. No, but I mean, I guess our numbers from AWA have been up over like 10% each year over the last 5 years.
Oh,
Uh,
that's awesome.
so yeah, I think the clubs are reaching more people, which is really cool. We've got a few new clubs here and there that keep popping up, and yeah, I mean that's I think I can only hope that we keep seeing that kind of growth. I don't know if that's sustainable, but in a world where everything's supposed to be growing all the time, we'll give it a go.
Well, there's definitely always somebody that doesn't like water, right?
For sure. Yep.
But living in the Bow Valley and amongst the hordes of tourists, everyone wants to get on the water at some point. It
Yep.
seems like whether it's just a float or they want to get out for something that's more splashy or more scenic or longer. There's definitely there's something about being on the water, especially in the heat of the summer. I
Yeah,
mean,
and it really gives you a different perspective over the landscape, right? Like, I can drive to Cochrane on the highway and you get one experience. I can ride a bike along the new like Glenbow Ranch and you get a different experience, or you float down from Cochrane to Bearspaw and you get a whole new experience. And so in one stretch, there's all different ways to see the landscape.
yeah, I mean, I think where I'm seeing the paddling industry going is basically that there's just so much, and that there's something for everybody, and it seems to be kind of just fingering out. And it's less compressed and less
Mhm.
directed. So it's a positive thing, getting more people out there for sure. How many like what's the inquiries like for new Canadians? You guys any stats on that? Have you guys been looking at that?
I don't have any stats on it. We have a few clubs that are doing programming. And or businesses. Waters Canoe Club did one a few years ago. I believe Kiana does one up in Edmonton, and UAPS has done some stuff in Edmonton, and then AQ Outdoors has been working with one of the new Canadian organizations to support programming there, and including creating instructors within that group.
Mhm.
And we've done similar projects with a couple different Indigenous groups, and in Manithini and Rocky Mountain House and Cold Lake. And again, trying to work with Spirit North, and then also uh, getting people from the community to be trained up as lake instructors as well.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great way to get people established and basically just introducing water in their lives is one of the bigger challenges and the first steps, which
Yeah, and the water
is
safety.
great. What's that?
And the water safety, right? It's
Yeah.
about respecting the water, and making sure you put a PFD on, and I guess to that end, one of the projects that we just not finished, but I guess launched in a lot of ways, took a couple of years, but is the river safety course that we built over the last couple of years, and so that's live and it's been running since the spring. We had a big push this summer in terms of the advertising, and we had over 80,000 people go to the course, and something like 1.4 million views on our ads for that course. So that was awesome numbers. And then kind of alongside of that, we did a sup leash awareness campaign for rivers, trying to let people know that they shouldn't be using ankle leashes on rivers, at least. And then And then we also built a PFD lending station at Harvey Passage that has been staffed the last 2 summers.
Yeah, that's pivotal. I mean, those recreation places, we definitely see all those uh, what is it, six pack dinghies coming down with
Yeah,
lots of people just in their flip flops
yeah.
and shorts and bikinis and half cut sort of thing. So yeah, having a PFD is huge for sure. Um, in terms of like, you know, where you just getting back into kind of the coaching side of things and that kind of stuff, like, is there anything in terms of like where you see a big gap in coaching or maybe things where, and I'm saying very, like, specifically technically, would you spend more time doing certain things? Would you spend less time doing certain things? I'm kind of asking either about like what would you spend more, something like what Simon would do with it's, you know, you spend try and get people to buy into a single stroke and training on that, or just would you advocate for getting people into moving water quicker? Um, Kind of a broad question, but are there any gaps that you're wishing that you see kind of happening in so
Um, yeah, I think maybe the only gap, and it's not everywhere, and it certainly depends, but you know, it's easy to do those intro courses, and it's easy to want to get onto like, you know, class two or whatever, like the Kananaskis. You know, that's an appealing goal, I think, for a lot of people. But where maybe not enough time is spent is in just like, you know, that class one crossing eddy lines. Um, and it was actually, I was talking to like one of the, I think it was a Czech coach a while back, and probably talking about our own kids, but it was like, you know, just spending time crossing the eddy lines as many times as possible is what's going to make you comfortable on it. So you can, and make all those things automatic. You can teach the basics of how to cross the eddy line and, you know, refine that, um, you know, through error detection and correction with a coach, or you can just go cross really simple eddy lines, you know, 1,000 times, and you're going to create those habits automatically, or you'll eventually create automatic habits. And so, yeah, I think, you know, if you can find somewhere that has easy, crisp eddy lines, if what you want to do is like get really good at whitewater, then doing that is what's going to help. And that was coming from, you know, more of a slalom perspective. It's like, you know, when you're in a slalom race, you need to be able to cross the eddy line, get into the eddy, and get out of the eddy, you know, as quick as possible. Um, and having that be just a completely automatic thing is what sets you apart from somebody else. And you know, eventually you're going to step that up into harder and harder whitewater and moves. But that is the thing that I guess is the hardest in our sport in whitewater, right? Is
so
crossing it.
just more time being able to
Yeah,
power into an eddy line and knowing how much power you need, how much
yeah, or
what
zero power,
direction
right?
you,
Yeah, like
zero
it's
power,
power,
yeah.
angle, tilt, all those things.
Yeah.
And so if you can find a location, and that's where like something like Harvey is so good, and we don't have those everywhere, but if you can find somewhere that's got a bunch of little interconnected eddies where you can just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, you're going to get good at paddling really quick.
You got to
And
kind of look
you
at it
see it.
like fly fishing a little bit. Like, well, it's just the art of the eddy turn, and it's like kind of the most controversial piece in terms of like what agency is promoting what and how you teach and how you do it. You know, an agency might say, well, you have to teach it this way, or you have to teach it this way, or these acronyms are important, or whatever. It's more over just getting across the eddy line
Just go do it.
repeatedly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can find a safe location, then you just go do it, right? And if it doesn't work, you flip over, you either roll or you don't roll. You get out of your boat, you get back in, and you keep going.
Right.
Yeah, just practice.
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite things to do, obviously, like I spend more time teaching canoeing than anything else. Let that kayaking instructor cert go a long time ago, but the honestly the most effective thing that I ever did was stay away from building up power and just showing people how they can uh, shave off pieces of current with their boat, and it ushers them into the river.
Mm,
So it's more about finesse and just judging where you are and that kind of thing, rather than kind of like going headstrong into every little eddy line that they see. So yeah, different approach for everybody for sure, and that's like the hardest, I think, and most controversial thing probably in the canoeing world would be like, how are you going to teach an eddy turn? And there's so much more to learn than just the eddy turn, but it is the quintessential kind of
mhm,
piece that we're all trying to master, I suppose. Yeah.
mm.
Um, well, I mean, it's been awesome chatting with you. Do you have anything to share with the community about what you think we can all do to where you think we can fill some gaps for AWA, or like, and this is for the paddling community. A message to the paddling community in general, because I'll post this on Cal Paddle if you're okay with that,
Sure.
and it'll go on YouTube and stuff. But do you have a message for everybody out there in the Whitewater world of Southern Alberta or Alberta?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is like if you have some time and some energy, like giving back to your club, or one of the other not for profits, is massive, right? So whether it's helping out with an event, I think tomorrow night's CanFest kickoff meeting. You don't. I think you can jump in and help at that anytime. But like, just helping out, getting new people into the sport, helping make events cool, um, helping with facilities, helping with access, like all of those little building blocks, make a huge difference. And you don't have to like spend hours and hours, right? Like, for instance, like the AWA board, we meet they meet twice a month, or sorry, once every 2 months. Um, most of the clubs have board meetings once a month. There's various event committees around. You can just come out to an event and help, do whatever, like, with registration, or it could be setting up the campground or whatever. But yeah, just, many hands make light work. And if you can help create one new paddler each year, and we all do that, then think about how many paddlers we could have in the system.
Advocating for access to
Yeah,
our rivers,
yeah,
for our sport. Yeah,
yeah,
awesome. Get involved if you can.
yeah,
I try.
yeah, yeah.
I've tried. Um,
I'm
Great.
preaching to the choir
Well,
here. Yeah.
with that,
I said I'm preaching to the choir with you, but yeah,
yeah, awesome. I think I touched on everything I wanted to ask you, but you know what? I'd love to do this again. Maybe with the river as a backdrop, but if you're up for it, we can maybe find something else to talk about
yeah, for sure. Lots.
in the spring.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks, man.
Thanks very much. Have a Merry Christmas.
Okay. Yeah. Same to you, man.
Yeah. Bye.
Ciao.